Do you think motivation alone can help your kid achieve success? I know this sounds like a tricky question, but it is not a tricky question. I know on this channel I talk a lot about overcoming procrastination, overcoming screen addiction, and reclaiming and elevating confidence and motivation and achieving success. I know motivation is very important, but in this video, I want to take a different direction. I want to invite you to think about this question. Do you think motivation alone can help your kid achieve success? And in order to answer this question, I'm going to go really vulnerable. I'll be sharing with you two personal stories to show you why motivation alone is not going to guarantee success for your teenager or young adult kid. And I will also share with you, if motivation alone is not sufficient, what are the additional qualities that your kid must develop and master so that they can achieve success in school, in sports, in leadership positions, in extracurricular activities, and eventually in real life? Okay, if that is what you are interested in learning more about, keep on watching. So who am I to talk about this? I'm an award-winning former college professor turned life coach. I specialize in helping teenagers and young adults overcoming procrastination, overcoming self-doubt, enhancing their executive functioning skills so that they can elevate their confidence and motivation so that your kid can achieve success in school and beyond. So in this video, we are taking a different direction. Now I will be answering the question, do you think motivation alone can help your kid achieve success? As I hinted earlier, the answer is no. Motivation is very important, but motivation alone is not enough to help your kid achieve success. And I'll be sharing with you two personal stories. And the very first one, both of them are vulnerable stories, but I want to share them with you. So here, this is my first story and involves a personal picture. I will share this with you. I hope you can see the picture. Here, let me make it. So that is a picture of me when I was a high school student. As you can see, I was very, very thin. So when this picture was taken, I was a freshman in high school, and I really struggled I struggled really bad with the eating disorder for 4 years. And during the entire 4 years, which was my entire high school, and I lost my period. My parents were really worried about me. And during the entire 4 years, I was motivated. I was very motivated. In fact, I was probably too motivated. I attended a private high achieving school. I was a good student, but I was surrounded with so many smart, hardworking, brilliant students. So I became one of the many. And everybody was working so hard. Everybody was an overachiever. And so it was really stressful for me to achieve, to perform and outperform myself and outperform my peers, and even our teachers were telling us, hey, listen guys, you don't really have friends, you only have competitors. You guys are competing with each other. It was very stressful. And I don't know about you and your kid, school didn't really come to me easily, especially when I was at that age. I really struggled a lot with school. And you can see why I'm so passionate about this, because sometimes parents ask me, hey, Dr. I, why are you so passionate about helping young people? The reason I'm so passionate about working with young children like yours is because I was your kid for a long, long, long time. So what I do, this is my calling and also my healing, right? So I'm helping you to also help myself. So at this school, everybody was super competitive, and school didn't come to me easily. I was working really, really hard, but some of the courses were just so hard, and I just couldn't figure it out. But I was working really hard. But also because my self-confidence was tied to my academic performance. So when I didn't get a good grade, I was feeling pretty bad about myself. So I really struggled with constant self-doubt, low self-esteem. I had no self-confidence whatsoever, very low compared to my peers. I was constantly comparing myself to my peers. I was never feeling good about myself. That's why I felt at the time the only thing I could control was my food. What I wanted to eat, what I didn't want to eat. and I just stopped eating for 4 years. I was losing so much weight. And it was really the darkest period, 4 years in my entire life as a student. So I want to use this story to share with you that was I motivated during my entire high school period? Yes. I was going to school at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. I study until like 2 or 3 a.m. until I literally passed out. I did that for at least 3 years during my out of the 4 years in my high school. I was motivated, but I was miserable. I was unhappy. I was battling with my eating disorder, fighting with my parents, questioning my life, feeling awful about myself, and hated my life. I didn't know who I was. So that was 4 years. And now that was the first story to show you motivation alone does not guarantee success. It didn't bring me success. It brought me lots of misery. And the second one I want to share with you was when I was older. So here, let me share the picture with you. So you can see the picture. I was drinking like a whole bottle. I'm embarrassed to share this picture with you. Don't take a screenshot of my video and post online, please. Thank you. But I want to use myself. Like when I coach my students, I invite my students to be vulnerable. But you know what? In order to invite others to be vulnerable, I probably need to be the first person to be vulnerable. So that's why I share. So the second picture I share with you was I was already a college professor. And I actually already achieved lots of success. For those of you who are not familiar with academia, so after you have to get a master, have to get a PhD. So in my case, master degree from Syracuse for 2 years. I got my PhD from the University of Maryland. Both of the universities are in the United States. So my PhD 4 years. So after 6 years in graduate school, and then I became an assistant professor. So in academia, you start as assistant. So after 4 or 5 years, being assistant professor based on your performance, meaning that teaching evaluation, how much do your students love you as a teacher, and publication, like how many publications you have as a assistant professor on top tier journals, all of that. So I did all of that. I was a great student. I was a great teacher. My students loved me. My teacher's evaluation was great. I had dozens of publications in top tier journals. So I was great. So the picture I share with you was so you start as an assistant professor. Then when you check all the boxes like publication, teaching evaluation, you will be promoted to associate professor. So I became associate professor. Like I was really happy, everybody was happy. So the picture you saw me doing that, drinking, was already after I got my associate professor. And to be honest, my life was gone. I have an amazing husband who is so supportive of me. I have 2 amazing boys at the time. Now I have 3. And my students love me, but I was so miserable. I was so unhappy. I don't know if you can relate. I feel like I checked all the boxes, but I was so miserable. I was only excited when Friday was here because I knew it was the weekend. I was so unhappy when Sunday came. I was like, oh my God, I have to go back to work. I hate it. Not that I hate my students. I don't know. I love my students and they love me. And actually, a group of students actually did a surprise baby shower for me. I didn't even know that. One day I opened my office door, our classroom door, and they organized a surprise baby shower for my second baby. That tells you how much my students love me, because I don't know that many undergraduate students took the time out of their busy schedule to actually organize a surprise baby shower, and almost all of them were broke. They had no money. They bought lots of gift for me, baby gift. But anyway, so they love me, I love them, but something was missing. And that's why that picture was taken after one friend started to bully me. I don't even know why, just some whatever, like politics, gossip things. So that was the last thing that destroyed me. And my husband took that picture because I don't even drink. I do not drink. So when he saw me doing that, that was so out of element, like who I am. That was not who I am. So he was so shocked. But I'm so happy that he took that picture so I can share the story with you. So that was another one. And I think shortly after that, I decided to quit my job to really discover what I wanted to do in life. So the second story is to also show you, was I motivated during the entire time, the entire 10 years, 10 plus years I was a college professor? Yes, I was really motivated. That's why I got Best Teacher Award, Best Advisor Award, all the publications. If I were not motivated, I wouldn't be promoted to associate professor. So I was motivated, but at the same time, I was so miserable. So I hope you can see the pattern, right? When I was a high school student, I was so hardworking, but I was miserable, battling with an eating disorder that stayed with me for 4 years. And when I was a college professor, the entire 10 years, 10 plus years, I was so hardworking, but I was so unhappy, I was so miserable, until someone really started to bully me. I was like, enough is enough. This is too toxic for me. So, two stories to show you. Motivation is not a guarantee for success. So what is a guarantee for success? And that was the question I asked myself a lot. I was like, you know what? My parents, my teachers told me you need to be motivated. That's how you achieve success. But I was motivated for so many years and decades. Why I was still so miserable? And so I embarked on a journey to try to figure out what was the requirement. What do I need to develop? What are the skills, the knowledge, whatever it is, what do I need to have in order to achieve success? And that was like a journey, right? So outside my PhD, I invest in additional, at least a six-figure investment in my brain. I joined different conferences, personal growth, personal development, transformation coaching program. I started reading books outside my discipline. So I embarked on a journey. And what I'm about to share with you is a result of my 20 years kind of discovery. What does it take for a young person to achieve success? It is something that I wish I had when I was your children's age. I wish someone could please enlighten me so that I could have saved so much time, energy, and misery, and to achieve success, not at the cost of my personal happiness and at the cost of my personal well-being. So this is the model that I created, and I'm really proud of myself. I'm sharing this with you so that you don't have to spend 20 years to figure this out. So this is what I call the inside-out success formula, and this one has 3 critical elements. And you guessed it. So one of them is actually motivation, because motivation is very important. If your kid is not doing anything, if the only thing they do is to be on their phone, TikTok video, YouTube Shorts, Snapchat, or playing video games, there's no way they can achieve success. They are not even going to unleash their potential. So motivation is very important. But my personal experience and all the research, all the students I have worked with over the last 20 years have also told me motivation alone is not enough. So you need 2 additional. What are the 2 additional? Let me tell you them. So one is clarity. And I actually separate. Let me make a note here. So I separate clarity to 2 levels. One is internal clarity. You have to know who you are at a very profound level. This is something I feel like young people today do not know. Again, this is a flaw in the current education system, because our education system teaches our children so much about the outside society, this and that, but the current education system does not really encourage very profound and deep level of internal exploration. And in fact, funny comment, I will take a screenshot of this comment and link in the chat box. I saw this comment on LinkedIn from a LinkedIn thought leader, and she received her degree from Harvard and the Stanford Business School, 2 prestigious universities. And she made a comment. She said that I learned so much about all the random stuff. However, I learned little about who I am. I was like, wow, that is exactly my experience as well. That's why in my coaching program, I actually have a 5-phase process. The very first phase is to help a young person discover who they are. Unless you know who you are, let's not even mention success. This is the missing piece in my journey after I became a college professor. Because until I became a college professor, my life to a great extent was life by default, meaning that after my undergraduate, of course you should get a master. After my master, of course you should get a PhD. After my PhD, of course you should become a professor. Everything was of course. It was really life by default. And this journey, this decision making, I was not involved. Nobody actually asked me, like people probably asked me on a very surface level, but nobody actually engaged with me on a very profound level to really help me understand who are you? What do you want to do? I never had that. I never ever engaged in a question like that until I quit my job when I was like 35 years old, so 10 years ago. Right? So that's why I make sure for every single student in my coaching program, let's understand who you are. This is the foundation for happiness, wealth, and future success. So internal clarity. And the second part of clarity is external clarity. The external clarity is based on the internal clarity. So once you understand who you are, and then let's discuss and talk about what do you want to do based on who you are, based on your superpowers and based on your weaknesses. So this is life by design. I am designing my life based on who I am, as opposed to my personal journey, life by default. That's why I was so miserable. Being a professor was a great job, but it was not for me. I love being a life coach so much more than being a college professor. Okay, and I actually did a video talking about the differences, the different skills and mindset required to succeed in school versus to succeed in life. You should definitely check out that video. That will help you understand why I'm a way better life coach than being a college professor. Even though I achieved lots of success as a college professor, it was just not for me. Okay, so internal clarity and self-clarity. The clarity piece is really the foundation for income, impact, and happiness is really important. And last but not least, the third element for my inside out success formula is confidence. And so confidence is so important. Confidence is actually also based on internal self-awareness, internal self-clarity. And back to my story, when I was a college professor, the picture I shared with you earlier, you saw me like drinking. So what triggered that specific picture was after one of my really good friends started to bully me online, and she is also a college professor. I was just very confused about the whole thing, but because I struggled so much with confidence, I was such a people pleaser. Like maybe your kid is the same. Even though other people wronged me, I was like still self-blaming. What did I do wrong? Should I apologize? I did apologize. Nothing really happened. I was in so much shame and guilt. I was not advocating for myself. I didn't even understand who I am. I didn't even understand who I was. I didn't even understand. I was just so confused because I had no clarity regarding who I was. Right? A confused mind doesn't take action. Because I didn't know who I was, I didn't take any action to advocate for myself. I didn't have the confidence to protect myself. I allowed everybody else to define who I am, who I'm not, and bully me for who I was not. To bully me for someone I was not that version of me, to bully me for that. And so confidence. So this is my success, inside out success formula. So in order for your kid to have success, they will need clarity, motivation, and confidence. Among all of the three, clarity is the most important one. That's why I have it on the top. I'll also share with you, oftentimes, when I was, like the picture I shared with you, the second one, when I was a college professor, I had motivation, but I did not have clarity. I did not have confidence. So I only have one slice of the entire formula. And sometimes people have two, and I will show you what happens when you have only two of the three core elements. So what happens when you have clarity and motivation? And when you know who you are, you know what you want to do in life, you are actually motivated, you are taking lots of action, but you lack confidence. I call this invisible worker. This is something I see a lot in immigrant students, myself, and even with my work, I was working really hard, but I didn't know how to advocate for myself. I don't ever speak up. I was always that quiet person, very invisible. But I was hardworking. I knew what I wanted. So as a result, when you have only clarity and motivation, you become that invisible worker, which is also not success, because if you are doing the work, you need to be acknowledged. And when you have clarity and confidence, you are also having some level of success, but not real success. I call this frozen dreamer, right? So this person has lots of clarity. I know who I am. I know what I want to do in life, and it's also very confident, right? Like Dreams Law talks about dreams, goals, ambitious. Like wow, just like such an amazing daydreamer, like a motivational speaker. But this person does not have motivation, lacks the motivation. And I have worked with lots of students like that. They know who they are. They know what they want. They also have lots of confidence that yes, I got this, I can do this, but they don't take any action. So they end up being a frozen dreamer. And a third category, so you have motivation and confidence, but you don't really have a sense of clarity. You don't know who you are, you don't know where you are going, you just have no idea, but you have lots of confidence, you have lots of motivation, you're like, go, like advocating for yourself, you're doing things, you're confident, but you don't have any direction. I call this yeah, you can see it. Aimless drifter, right? You're kind of like drifting from one place to another place because you do not have clarity, right? Lots of people who have shiny object syndrome, they are chasing all these shiny objects, but they never actually accomplish anything. Everything's half finished this, unfinished that, half finished this. Everything's like started, but they never finish anything. They have confidence, like let's go. In the early stage, they're super excited, they're motivated only to a certain extent, and then they give up or they keep going until another shiny object because they don't really understand what do I really want to do in life. So they're drifting a lot. So the real success, authentic success, is when you have clarity, confidence, and motivation. I'm trying to use a color. I have no. I'm gonna use. This one, purple. So the golden circle. This is the center. Is you have clarity, confidence, and motivation. This is what I call empowered achiever. And this is my goal for all of you children, for all of the people in my coaching program, and for my own children and for myself. And I'm really proud to say that this is exactly where I am after a long journey, after 20 years of struggling, trying to figure out what it takes for anyone to achieve success. I finally came up with my own solution, my own formula. It's not something that I read in a book. This is what I created based on real life example, real life stories of working with more than 2,500 young people, including myself. For anyone who wants to achieve success, you will need, or your children will need, motivation, confidence, and most importantly, clarity. Once they have all of the three, they will become an empowered achiever. And they take inspired action with confidence and purpose. And this is my definition of success. This is exactly where I help every single young person in my coaching program to arrive. It has been a powerful journey, and I have so many young people who came to me who don't have confidence, don't have motivation, who don't have, like most of the young people who come to me, they don't have any of the three. And I slowly help them discover the three, and then that's how they unleash their potential. You know what? Let me give you a story. So what you see here are some notebooks that one of my students published on Amazon. She self-published because I helped her gain that clarity. She's a high schooler. She wanted to become a business person. And I also help her gain that confidence, gain motivation, so completely unleash herself. And she started her own small business, which is absolutely incredible. I have lots of stories like that. But that is the power when you have all of the three critical elements. Success is a byproduct. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this video. And in fact, I actually have a prettier version of this model. And if you let me know in the chat box you want the prettier version or the printout, if you can just say printout version of the model, and I will send it to you. Okay, so you can download it, you can share it with your own children. And I also have an assessment. If you're not sure, or your children are not sure, like, I don't know if they like this, where they stand in terms of clarity, confidence, and motivation, I also created an assessment. So the assessment is completely free. Once you do the assessment, you will know exactly where your kid is standing, and then you can make a decision. Maybe they will need some help. And if that is the case, I highly encourage you to use the link in the description box to apply and book a complimentary consultation with me, so that you can learn more about my coaching program and seek ways that me and my team can support you and support your kid to help them elevate confidence, motivation, and gain that clarity so that your kid can achieve success. So yeah, if you want that assessment, let me know in the chat box, assessment. And if you want to apply to book a complimentary consultation, the link is in the description box. Okay, also, maybe this is too much, I think I will stop here. So if you love this video, you should definitely check out another video, and YouTube think that you should watch that video and you will love that video. And make sure you like and subscribe and all of this good stuff. I look forward to seeing you in another video. If there are things you want me to talk about, mention them in the chat box. Thank you so much.